Today we are here with Allen Mahan. Thank you for coming on and chatting with me today. I'm going to ask you some questions, but let's start off with you telling the channel a bit about yourself and the creative work that you do.
Okay. Well, my name's Alan. I was born in Toledo, Ohio. Kent State University, then Arizona State. I went to spent some time in Ireland at University College Dublin, and I am. I've always been like an artist type, painting, drawing, music. Started out playing drums, and then I've been playing guitar a long time. I play harmonica. I taught myself on YouTube videos.
Oh,
So I'm
nice.
like an intermediate harmonica player, just blues, but I must have 20 harmonicas. You got a harmonica players I know you play in different keys. So for every key, you need a different harmonica.
Yeah, I
And
never knew that before, and I learned that from Pay actually.
yeah, does he have harmonicas?
Yeah, he does, and I got him one that I can't remember what key it's in now, but it's one that no one ever uses, and apparently he went to buy it because he wanted one in every key, and the shop owner basically
Uh,
talked him out of it. So I went and I got him one as a surprise.
that's cool. Yeah, I mean, you have to like the song, for example, "Take the Long Way Home," Supertramp.
Hmm.
There's a Whalen harp key in there, but it's in the key of say A B C D E F in the key of D, so you need like a F harp, and that's really unusual. But I bought one just to be able to play the
That
song.
that might actually be the one that I got.
F harp. Yeah, I don't have them in every key, but I have them in most keys.
Hmm.
But guitar players like to play out of key of E or A. I know he's a good guitar player,
Yes.
painter as well. So like I've known Pay a couple of years, and we've chatted. We're friends on Facebook, and I know him a wee bit. We've talked about collaborating a little because I do Bob Dylan songs with Dane Cobain. He plays
Hmm.
guitar, and I play harmonica over him. But
Yeah, that would be cool.
I don't have any editing equipment or software or anything like Pay, but we're both busy. He's super busy.
Yeah.
So I do that. I'm just getting back into writing though, Holly.
Okay.
I have a MFA in creative writing from Arizona State in poetry, but I also wrote short stories, and I was a poetry editor on Hayden's Fairy Review, our university press. But I used to
Oh,
send out and get rejections and wallpaper my bathroom with them.
yeah.
Like we were talking about laptops, I don't even have a typer. I just call them typers. But I want to buy just a Chromebook to glorified word processor. Start getting back into the sending out to editors and that
Yeah, you definitely should. And you
contest.
yeah. Yeah, and you also have a YouTube channel where you talk
Mm-hmm.
about books and writing. You want to go into that
Mm-hmm.
like a little bit?
Sure. Well, my channel name is Big Hard Books and Classics, and I'm a Joycean. I like James Joyce. I also read a lot of like Faulkner, a lot of Pynchon, a lot of classics, but I read new novels too. I read fantasy, sci-fi, like Gene Wolfe. I'm
Okay.
in the third novel of this, the Book of the New Sun. I read a lot of poetry, and then music too, music and art. And I tend to lose some subscribers when I do that too. Like I'll put on a guitar thing, it's like that Ricky or not Rick, yeah, Rick Nelson song. You can't please everyone, so you have to
Yeah.
please yourself.
Yeah. That's a big thing on YouTube. Pay and I talk about that pretty regularly about how we'll be putting stuff up that we know people are going to sort of watch and it's in a series and if it's like book reviews and stuff like what is going to get the good reactions, but then you'll put something up that you just want to make and you see people unsubscribing. It's like, yeah, of course. Like the thing I really cared about that I wanted to put on here, that's just it never seems to be
Well,
the popular thing.
I mean, my friend and I, Greg, at another Bibliophile Reads, we do the Monday Night Live show, of which you and Pay are going to be on
Yeah.
next Monday.
Yes.
But we even a Poetry Thursday, we'll drop like a poem, like 2 minutes and we'll like lose some, or somebody will drop off. And I don't know. I just have fun. It's quality over quantity. It takes me like an hour, hour and a half to do my correspondence, like on Voxer and YouTube and Discord
Hmm.
from Europe and and across the country.
Yeah,
It's
I
like a
find
ham radio.
you really have to enjoy what you're doing because if you there have been periods on YouTube where I've gotten into sort of a rut of just trying to, people please
Uh,
and I start hating it very quickly. So you
uh-huh.
have to do what you enjoy, especially because it's hard to it can be hard to get like monetized and stuff like that. So you can't be driven by that on YouTube. It has to just be the creativity and the passion and the community and all of those things, I find.
Yeah, but I do like I have an envious streak, and all my friends are over 1,000 at least, and
Not me.
I've been not even,
No.
but I've been doing it for 5 years now, and but I've had friends now for 5 years, and I don't know if I mentioned here or before we were chatting. I've met one, two, three booktubers in person so
Mm.
far, and that's been really neat.
Yeah, there's a community element that's really nice, and that's one of the things that I wanted to bring out with the Stygian collection, like because we're all, that's one of the things that brings us all together. We're all author tubers or booktubers. So when you joined up in the project, like how did you feel about that aspect of being, forming this niche community within AuthorTube?
Well, yeah, I mean, I it felt really great. It felt like I said I hadn't even sent anything out in over a decade, easy. But I used to, and I'd like to get back into it. Some other people I on like AuthorTube I related with, and they started me going again. I
Okay.
don't know how I saw like the call for submissions, or I think I remember emailing you and going, "Are you accepting poetry?" Because
Mm-hmm.
I know I didn't have time to whip a short story together.
Yeah.
I've got a short story I've been working on pushing 5 years, and it's going into novella, and it's kind of a normal, uh, quote unquote, normal story. I mean, it's always going to be weird out of me, out of my mouth, but it's not necessarily horror. But so I know I couldn't whip together any new stories, but I knew I could whip together some poems. And then let me mention about, because some uh, of the society members hopefully will be watching. Greg and I would like to invite you to do 10 to 15 minutes on our one of our Monday shows coming up in September or October. We do it on StreamYard. I always want to say StreamPunk, but it's StreamYard. And we just send you a link. You pop on for 10, 15 minutes. And we're really laid back. So Holly's going to do a little coordination. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'll be sending out a group email to everyone in the project because I think there also is I think there's someone else who's doing a series like that as well. So there will be more opportunities opening up, which is exactly what I was hoping for when I brought everyone together. Just that, we're not only putting the book out together, but there's that continued opportunity for, growing friendships and collaborating and all of that.
Well, I really like the presentation, like everyone else. It was in that cool envelope, and I
Oh yeah.
have the key right here,
Oh, awesome.
the key, and I have the pen uh, up there. I'm waiting for fall. My leather jacket. I'll put it on my jacket.
Oh,
Uh,
perfect. Yeah, we wanted to add those extra
I'm not going
little
to give.
little
I'm
touches.
not going to give away the handshake, so don't worry about that. I won't give away the handshake or the
Okay,
secret knock.
good, good, good. We don't want that getting out into the world.
No.
So having not submitted anything and just getting back into writing now, like you were saying, what was it that inspired you to submit to us when you sent your poems in?
Well, like I said, I've always journaled, like as like a diary, or I'll do specific journals. I'm started up a dream journal last month or so, maybe longer, and I'll do it if I go on a trip. I'll journal it. I'll in need notebooks. But what I was starting to work with some other author tubers and making connections and friendships. one that's been lost now, but it's
Yeah.
another story. But I was sparked and encouraged to write again, so I just kind of started to pay attention to it, pay attention to the muse, kind of, believe that or not. And it's strange because that poem I wrote about Cormac McCarthy has bad breath, that
Yeah.
line just came to me. That was before he died, and then, I mean, you guys accept it, and he ends up dying. That's odd.
That is very odd. I don't know if that's a good sign or a bad sign.
Yeah, I mean, I hope people don't think, well, God, he wrote that just because Cormac died. But, I'm a big Cormac McCarthy fan, Blood
Mm.
Meridian.
Hmm.
I'm threatening to buddy read this with somebody who's never read it before, but quite frankly, I don't think they're ready. you know.
That's a author that I would like to get into. I have not read him yet.
Yeah, I mean, he's great, really violent. It's like
I like that.
one of the most violent books I've ever read, just
Mm.
really. But I mean, horror comes with some violence, and
Yeah. Just earlier I had our skull here because I was showing him off to my coworkers. So we were
mm,
discussing how I'm okay with that. The only thing that gets me is animals. I can't take animal violence. Humans, it doesn't
yeah.
matter.
Well, yeah, I think there's some like animal violence in there because it's like cowboys and Indians and back in
Okay.
the day, and
Right, right.
uh, but I mean some horrific shite that even you have not imagined, if you can believe that.
I'll
I,
believe it.
I'd be willing to bet because like I'd never. Well, put it this way: have you heard about his first novel called Child of God?
I've heard the title, but I haven't heard like much detail
Well,
about the novel.
Oprah Winfrey turned me on to that. Not
Oh,
personally, but through her Oprah book club.
okay.
She turned me on to a lot of good books, but she turned me on to Child of God, and I wish she hadn't. It's about like a necrophiliac,
Oh, okay.
and I mean, I'm telling you, it's like just stuff that you never.
It's just
That's it.
everything.
That was from his first novel. Yeah,
Starting out strong.
yeah,
Starting out
starting
strong
out
with
yeah with
necrophilia.
a necrophilia niche.
If
Yeah,
you, I mean, if you want to set the tone for future works, that is a very,
yep.
very interesting way to
It
do
goes
it.
downhill from there. No,
Yeah, I gotta read them.
it's a wild novel. Oh my god! But um, yeah.
Knowing what you said now about writing that and then having him, die after the fact, are there any other anecdotes or, memorable experiences related to the process of writing the two poems that you submitted to the Stygian collection?
They kind of just came fast to me. Um, I'll tell you that the poem UFOs in AZ in Arizona started out UFOs in Utah,
Hmm.
and that came in as a newspaper article I read
Okay.
a long time ago. I spent a lot of time in Phoenix, Arizona area, Arizona State, Sun Devils, and if you've been watching news and the weather, they're up to day I think 20 now with over 110-degree heat.
Yeah. Yeah, I have
My
some
father's on his
coworkers
way
in that
up with a
area.
friend. My father's on his way up with a friend right now. They were in Vegas last night, and they're going to stop over in Idaho tomorrow.
Mm.
Then another 8 hours they'll be here in Portland. So they'll get out of the heat. We've been having a really pleasant summer.
Oh, that's good. I was going to ask you, since we've been talking about writing and also YouTube, and we started to touch on this a little bit with your inspiration. How has your time on YouTube over the last 5 years influenced your writing and your other creative pursuits?
Hmm. Well, it's opened me up to. I've read things that I wouldn't have ordinarily read before. Not only classics, but new things. I read War and Peace this year. It was
Mm.
a list book, but and I didn't really rush it. I read Anna Karenina with a group like 2 years ago, and then I bought this. Oh God, it's
Yeah.
Anthony Briggs, and I just totally got immersed in it. and read it by myself. I just had an opportunity, some time. I wasn't buddy reading or
Mm.
like Faulkner in August or Garb August or June on the Range or, and nothing was going on at the time. It only took me 5 weeks. Now, I also used Audible, so I
Mhm.
listened to it while I read.
That helps.
And now I'm going to reread it again too. Probably, and I think people are going to. They're threatening to do a group read of it in January.
Oh, cool. It's on my list. It's also one of the sort of back of my mind. I've got to read that at some point.
I mean, it's totally readable. It's just you
Yeah.
have to get used to the Russian names, and but once you get used to that, or just how you read books or a fantasy book will be a weird name, and you just
Well,
get used to it.
I'm Ukrainian and Polish, so we've got a lot
Oh,
of
you
weird
are?
names already. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah,
Rhiannon
this is a great book.
Rhiannon is based on my middle name. My actual last name is Kinjierski. So
Ah, excellent.
yeah.
I had a girlfriend. Her last name was Pachesny,
Oh, cool.
and I use her last name with some numbers as a password to this day.
Yeah. Yeah, they're good for that.
McChesney. It's like, what's your name? McChesney. No, Gesundheit. What's your name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a friend when I was in grade 7 who just wound up he was like, I can't figure it out. I'm gonna call you Holly
Oh,
Kindergarten. I'm like, can you
yeah.
not?
Yeah, geez. Boy, I love Polish food and Polish weddings are the
Mhm.
best.
Oh yeah.
I've been to a handful of them back in Toledo, Ohio, and I went to some in Arizona as well. But how did we get here? What you
I
asked me
don't know.
about? I
I
know.
was I was asking about YouTube's influence on your creative works, your
Yeah, and
writing.
then I went to War and Peace.
Mhm.
Um, Oh, and I like this Gene Wolfe. My friend Tommaso at Tom LA Books, whom I met in when he lived in Hollywood. I went down and visited him, but I
Mhm.
never would have known Gene Wolfe from a hole in the ground. And he's a really influential and famous sci-fi writer, you know.
Oh, I'm
But
gonna I my next project is to read some more sci-fi, so I should look him up for sure.
yeah, Gene Wolfe is really highly respected, and is well, the series is starts out with Shadow and Claw.
Okay.
Yeah.
I bet my dad knows about this writer. He's a comic guy and knows a lot of sci-fi.
Oh,
I'll
then I'm sure he will.
I bet I'll
Because
mention it to
I
him and he'll be
enjoy
like, I've told you about this before.
and then now that you've heard his name, you'll be seeing him like, oh, and reading it. Oh, he'll pop up. He's deceased, but
Yeah, that's how it
yeah,
always
the
goes.
saying is there's a bunch of podcasts devoted to him, so he's like that kind of guy.
Okay,
They
cool.
say you don't read Gene Wolfe, you reread Gene Wolfe. So
Well, that's
he's
good.
yeah,
All right.
multi-layered and yeah, I know you'll like him. The main character is this guy named Severium, and he's
Mhm.
a torturer
Oh, excellent.
set in the future, and it's just my job, man. It's just he's got a special sword called, just on and on.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
I think you'll get into it.
Yeah, it sounds like it. So through YouTube, like it's really just opened a lot of new paths for interaction and reading and creativity and stuff, which
Yeah, and I've been
I
making
I've
friends with writers specifically in that,
yeah,
going on
I've found
sprints.
that with other people I've talked to, just how it opens things up, and that's how it's been for me too. Like I started 2 years ago now, and it was with NaNoWriMo, and starting that way, like getting into the writing that draft and also on YouTube at the same time, it just opened up such a massive world, and it's been really great. I mean, I don't
Well, I
think
can
Stygian Society would be here otherwise.
no. And a friend of mine in Wales, Aaron Facer, he's got a channel, but he turned me on to this verse poet who I'm just starting to get into. I've got uh, an audio version of his book, and then I've got an e version of his verse poetry, and I'd like to, try that out and start practicing some of that, or
Yeah.
even like a long poem in verse. I mean, I've
Mhm.
got Paradise Lost up there. I've read that a couple, two, three times with groups. Um, I love Villanelle's style, like Dylan Thomas.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
One of my favorite poems of all time is Elizabeth Bishop, One Art. The art of losing isn't hard to master. Uh, that's a Villanelle. I like, sonnets and sestinas, just form.
Hmm.
Like Robert Frost said, free verse is like playing tennis without a net.
It's
And
true.
I think he's got a little point there. I mean,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, I write free verse
Yeah.
too, and I like, all that. And but I like forms.
Mhm. I usually land somewhere in between the two because I never really set out with much plan for a poem. I just sort of wind up saying it and then I'll try to make it hit some sort of rhythm and it
Right.
turns out the way it turns out.
Yeah, and
Because you,
I like knowing the rules and then
yeah,
breaking them.
yeah. And you and I are the only people in the collection with poetry, which is worth mentioning.
Right.
So
I
that,
haven't read the whole collection yet. I haven't even read Fees, Half Human Heroes, except for I've read like Margaret's story in that. I
mhm.
really liked it. I'm going to steal her the, the thing she does with some thoughts
Oh
in
yeah.
there to for it's kind of like a Faulkner thing. I thought, but I'm gonna borrow that
Okay.
someday. Someday.
Yeah, I have to read that anthology as well. I've got it. I just haven't read it yet. So,
What are the future plans of the society? If I understand correctly, are you gonna like just publish independent authors like their novels, concentrate on that, or
yeah, so our plan right now is to publish a, just full novel by one author, but collections are something we want to keep working on. And we've had everyone I've interviewed has said, so you have to do another anthology. Marc Andre suggested that we do one annually. So if we
oh,
can
great.
manage that, we might do something like that because I would like to do that. I would like to explore other elements within that dark genre, maybe do some that are more philosophical, some that's more, more poetry heavy, some that are not fully focused on AuthorTube, that sort of thing. But we are continuing publishing and we want to put out full novels and we're open to submissions right now. So we're just on the lookout for our next project.
Yeah, superb.
Hmm. On the note about the anthology and what we're doing, having gotten into this, what are your hopes for how the anthology does and what sort of feedback we receive with it?
Oh well, I'm hoping for some more attention and uh, the Pushcart Awards, which is
Yes,
small press.
I've got it on my calendar when we can submit.
Yeah, in October, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, if three, some people could get picked out of that for to get even nominated, that'd be cool.
Hmm.
That's what I used to like back in the '80s and '90s, uh, late '90s, in grad school when I was sending out to contests
Hmm.
and like first book contests and poetry. I mean, that's a real way to break into something, And I
Yeah.
also like the fact that Stygian Society paid the authors, and
Yes.
I
That
don't
was
know if I'm
very,
talking
very
out.
important to us.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm talking out of school, but I'm one who signed number two, choice number two for the. I don't even know how it works, but
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
So I mean, we're one of our other things is we're very dedicated to being transparent, so I don't mind, talking about it. We gave authors two options. They could either get a one-time $50 payment or they could choose to get a percentage of sales as we go along with the book. So I think you chose the percentage, right? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. So every month we're going to look at sales and send the documentation. So you'll see what sales we made, and then you get your percentage out of those as we go along,
Oh,
basically, forever. And if
that's
we,
really cool.
yeah, and if we put out like a special edition of it and stuff like that, it'll apply to that as well. And then also you have your referral link. So the other thing is authors who were included in this anthology get a referral link, and out of that they get, I think it's 25%.
Yeah,
I
you're
can't,
right.
yeah, 25% of the sales that they directly bring to the site. So we've been doing that as well. We wanted to provide a lot of options so that our authors were being supported, because I see that that doesn't happen all the time, and I don't agree with it.
No, I mean it's easy to. Yeah, back in the day we called it vanity press, and it's easy to put out chapbooks in a way, and or just gather a bunch of uh good stories. I'm not saying they're bad or it's bad, but gather them together and take it to Kinko's and say, "Here's our anthology." But you
Yep.
guys really put out the real deal. So I was really surprised and impressed.
Oh, that's nice to hear. Thank you. Well, like this project was really a way that we could show the literary world that what we were aiming to do as we move forward. So we really wanted to be kind of like a case study where we could
Yeah,
show our, the little extra touches we added with the pin and everything and the options and just making everything so transparent. And I think by involving a number of authors in that, you get the word out very quickly that here's what we're doing. This has gone through, we've completed the project, it's successful, and now a lot of people can see what we're all about and what we're going to continue to do.
yeah, it was great being on like the ground floor and seeing it come to for fruition, and um, and then seeing it where it's going to go in the future.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see where it progresses because we're not totally done with this project. We still want to do things. Like I mentioned, the audiobook, and we have some ideas for
Right.
special editions. So there will be more.
Yeah, and then you even tours. You were talking about different
Yeah,
cities or signings,
I
and it's a
yeah,
lot to coordinate.
yeah, I've been doing a lot of emailing. I'm trying to reach out in everyone's city, like all the cities that we have authors in, and reach out to stores and see if they want to do signings and events. And yeah, it's an ongoing process, but it's a fun one. I'm enjoying it. And
Yeah,
I'm glad
good.
that you've been a part of it. It's nice to have you on board.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks a lot.
I think this is a pretty good point to wrap up our interview, but I always want to give you a chance to let us know what projects, other creative endeavors you're working on, if there's anything you'd like to share with our audience and the Stygian readers.
I these are my I did a series of eagles like over the 4th of July, and some parrots and some owls. So I put them on Facebook and that, but I mentioned my dad's coming up to see me. I hadn't seen him in 3 years since before COVID,
Oh,
so
wow.
I'm going to give him a couple of these. Paint this watercolor eagle.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, this is the best one out of five. They all can't be masterpieces. And then this is the best parrot.
Oh, I like that.
So yeah, I like doing watercolors and some. So no
That's
big
great.
deal. It's like on the back of a Spider-Man. So you know, but
Adds some more character to it.
yeah, that's what I'm doing. I mean, I read day and night. Don't I'm deep diving into Carlos Castaneda, deep diving into J.D. Solinger. September, I'm going to take somebody through Catcher in the Rye for the first time. So I've read him. I've been reading him for a long time. So I'm reading his novels and reading some nonfiction bios on Solinger. Uh, Carlos Castaneda. None of my friends have read him except for
Okay.
my friend Nettie in England, who's like my age. Have you ever heard of Carlos Castaneda?
I have heard of him, but I have not read him.
Yeah, he's trip, a lot of dream work, a lot of stuff. But it's not all about peyote and mescaline and mushrooms. He starts like that in his early books, but gets around to doing techniques soberly like
Hmm.
that and dream work and he and it's nothing new. He's been like debunked as a hoax, and like even Joyce Carol Oates came out and said, "Why is this stuff even nonfiction?"
Hmm.
But Simon and Schuster still put it out as nonfiction. He's dead now. There's
Yeah.
scandals,
Oh,
but
wow.
yeah. but that's what I've been into lately.
Okay. And you're doing the live stream also
Yeah, every
on
Monday,
Monday
you
nights.
mean?
Yeah.
The Monday
Yeah.
night show
Cool.
that you and Pay are going to be on Monday?
Yes, next
Yeah,
Monday.
that'll be great.
And yeah, so lots of art, lots of reading, and some streaming. And
Mhm.
I'll be sure to put all of your links in the description down below if
Oh, well, thanks.
so people will follow you and get some great reading suggestions.
Well, I
But
appreciate that. Yeah.
thank
Thanks,
you.
Holly.
Thank you so much for joining me. It's been great chatting, and I hope everyone reads your poems and enjoys them. We'll talk again soon.
Again.
Bye.